You ready?
Oh.
All right, we ready?
10 seconds.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to the City Council meeting this evening on March 20th. We'll call it to order. We do have a quorum. We'll declare the meeting open. I'm going to ask Councilmember Sean Teeman if he'll lead us in the pledge and invocation, please.
Stand with me, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You will bow your heads. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, God, Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for bringing all the folks here safely, Lord. Lord, I pray that you are with us in everything that we do and that you watch over our public safety officers, our policemen, our firemen, and all city staff and the good works they're doing here in the community, Lord. Lord, just lead, guide, and direct us and be with us always. We love you, Lord. Amen.
Amen. All right, thank you. All right, Council, did everybody get an opportunity to review the minutes of the meeting of March 6, 2023?
Move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We approve. Thank you. All right. This time we do have a special presentation. We have the 2023 Lone Star Recreation Programming Achievement Award. Teresa, come tell us about this great award.
Thanks, Mayor. I'm happy to be here tonight. Texas Recreation and Park Society awarded our own recreation team with the 2023 Lone Star Recreation Programming Achievement Award at its annual state conference in Frisco a couple weeks ago. This award was presented for innovative and effective recreation programming. We competed against 140 other nominees for this award. We were awarded for the fall festival that we had in November, for a fall festival for special needs. The fall festival provided sensory-friendly games and activities with lots of prizes, a free lunch, and a photo opportunity for families with children classified as special needs. By utilizing the community support financially and with volunteers, we were able to provide an event that had overwhelming positive response from the families participating. One of the main outcomes of this event was bringing families together. Excuse me. While at the event, a mom stopped us, and her son had just been diagnosed 6 months earlier, so she was learning how to live with this new diagnosis. She told us that at the fall festival, she had met 2 other families with children that were similar to hers. The families shared information about resources available in the community, and the mom added that it was the first time that she felt like she could talk to somebody about her child. We would like to thank Sherman PD, Sherman Fire, and Sherman Solid Waste for attending. They brought out vehicles, and the kids were able to get on the trash truck, and that was very fun for them. We'd also like to thank ER of Texas and Raising Cane's, who donated many prizes to ensure that the children left with a full bag of goodies. Thanks to Max Shirts for providing a free t-shirt for every participant, and Preston Trail Farms for donating mini pumpkins for the kids to paint. Also, we could not have done this event without volunteer support that we received from Texoma Christian School cross-country team. The students manage all of the games, and they did an excellent job interacting with all the kids. So I would like to recognize my staff. Over here we have Whitney Tilley, Stephen Pine, Macy Harwood, and then of course Dylan Johnson. Ryan Maxon, he's out on paternity leave. He was also at the event. And this is a trophy that we received, and Junior's going to play just a short video.
Great.
Super.
right.
That's it.
Congratulations, Teresa, to you and your team. I can tell it was just a wonderful day and very moving by the emotional response here. But I'm so thrilled, not only for you and your team and for all the volunteers, but the participants and the parents that got to communicate. That's how we build a community. So thank you, all your team and everybody, for your hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we are citizen comments. Does anybody have any comments about anything on the agenda before we begin tonight? Okay, Mr. Tracy, how are you this evening?
A year older and doing better.
Understood.
I have a question about consent item F4. This is about a fuel contract. A few years ago, the council approved a $1 million contract to add one additional hangar to the airport and to make some improvements and modifications. And within that was supposed to be the relocation of the aviation fuel station and an introduction of a jet fuel station. So I guess the question is did that occur? And is this contract going to include jet fuel along with aviation fuel?
Okay, so I don't know the answers to those questions, but I do know that maybe not jet fuel because our runway's too short.
Nope, the runway's sufficiently long.
We're not including jet fuel because we don't have a tank to put it in.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Because that contract was renegotiated to build 3 hangars as opposed to 1, and the contractor was going to absorb the cost of the 2 additional hangars, and then that was going to be a 10-year agreement between the city and the contractor for exclusive use of all 3 hangars, and at the end of the 10 years, donate those to the city at no extra cost.
Okay.
So anyway,
I don't know the answer to your questions, but I'll get your contact information and make sure you get that information.
okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, very good. We are to the consent agenda. These items are considered to be routine and will be enacted in one motion without discussion unless a council member or a citizen requests a specific item be discussed and voted on separately. These items include F1, F2, F3, F4, F5, and F6. Would anybody like these broken apart for any reason?
Move to approve consent.
Okay. Second. Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council. All right, we're to the double asterisk consent agenda. These items are considered to be routine and enacted in one motion, subject to the staff review letter, without discussion unless a council member or a citizen requests a specific item be discussed and voted on separately. Consent agenda, subject to staff review letter, includes items G6, G7, G8, G9. Would anybody like these broken apart for any reason?
I move to approve the double asterisk agenda item, subject to staff review letter.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council. All right, we are to public hearing. We'll open public hearing at this time. Linda, if you'll read item E1 for us, please.
Ordinance 6572, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sherman closing and abandoning a portion of Knollwood Road right-of-way in the City of Sherman, Grayson County, Texas, being more particularly described in the Exhibit A. Said property shall be reserved as an easement for public and franchise utilities for the right of ingress and egress to same, for purposes of operation, maintenance, or removal of such utilities, or until such utilities shall be abandoned or relocated.
Okay. Thank you, Linda. Wayne?
Mayor, Council, if you recall, when TxDOT put in the traffic signal there at North Creek, one condition of that traffic signal was that the city close off access to Knollwood to North Creek, and that has been done. The adjacent property owner on both sides of the road is Young Enterprises, and they requested abandonment of the right-of-way from North Creek to the south end of that apartment complex. And the city has no objection to this abandonment request.
Okay. Thank you, Wayne. Is there anybody here to discuss this item this evening? Okay, if not, Linda, if you'll read E2 for us, please.
Ordinance 6573, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sherman amending Sherman's zoning ordinance, Code of Ordinances, Chapter 14, and granting a specific use permit to allow a mini warehouse on a tract of land, Zone C2, General Commercial District, located at 2601 Hilltop Drive, consisting of 5.51 acres, Lot 2, Block 1, Kate's First Edition.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Wayne?
Okay, Mayor, I'm going to put on my best Rob Ray hat for this evening
Okay.
in his absence. This item is a SUP for mini warehouse. There's an existing mini warehouse at this location. The owners would like to expand the site, create more storage facilities. This expansion, though, triggers requirement to acquire SUP before construction can begin. P&Z did recommend approval 7-0.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Wayne. Good evening. If you'll state your name and address for the record and tell us about your project.
My name is Noah Starr. This is Gary Lease, and we are seeking to expand our existing self-storage facility. This has been serving the community since 2005, and we are here to answer any questions or comments, but we're excited.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And we'll get with you here in a little bit with any questions. Anybody else here to speak on this item? Okay.
All right. Thank you.
We'll close public hearing, and then when we discuss it, we'll ask you questions. All right, thank you. All right, Linda, if you'll read E3 for us, please.
Ordinance 6574, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sherman amending Sherman's zoning ordinance, Code of Ordinances, Chapter 14, to rezone a tract of land consisting of 0.359 acres, all of Lot 3, Lot 4, and the east half of Lot 5, Block 11, Kerr's Nursery Edition, located at 415 East Orange Street, heretofore zoned C2 General Commercial District, rezoning and placing the tract in the R6 Single Family Residential District zoning classification.
Okay, thank you. Linda. Wayne?
Yes, this item is a zoning change request from C2 to R6. The applicant would like to develop a single-family lot on this property. This request is consistent with the city's comprehensive plan. Also on the agenda is G4, which is a replat of this property. If this gets approved, Planning and Zoning did recommend approval of this item 7-0.
Okay, thank you, Wayne. Is there anybody here that would like to speak on this item? Okay. You'll state your name and address for the record, sir.
Julio Torres, 419 East Orange.
Good evening, Mr. Torres. And this is your project? You're here to answer questions?
Yes.
Okay, all right. We'll get with you in just a moment.
Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, anyone else? All right, Linda, if you'll read E4 for us, please.
Ordinance 6575, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sherman amending Sherman's zoning ordinance, Code of Ordinances, Chapter 14, repealing Ordinance 6460 and granting a specific use permit to allow a smoke shop on a tract of land zone C1 Retail Business District, 01, 75, and 82 Overlay District, located at 2916 North Highway 75, Suite 110, Lot 4 of Schaefer Plaza.
Thank you, Linda. Wayne?
This item is a renewal of an SUP for smoke shop. The applicant received an SUP on March 21st, 2022 with a 1-year expiry. It took them a lot longer to get the business up and running than anticipated, and they've only been in business a few weeks. And so they're hoping that renewal of this SUP will be granted. Staff did recommend renewal, including another year time limit and tying the SUP to the applicant. P&Z did recommend approval 7-0.
Okay, thank you, Wayne. Good evening. You'll state your name, address for the record.
Yeah, my name is Miles Walker, and I'm 3990 Vitruvian Way, Addison, Texas.
Great, and so you're here to answer any questions for the council?
I am.
Okay, all right. We'll get with you in just a moment. Perfect, thank you. Is there anyone else here to speak on this item? All right. Linda, if you'll read E5 for us, please.
Ordinance 6576, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sherman amending Sherman's zoning ordinance, Code of Ordinances, Chapter 14, to rezone a tract of land consisting of 0.191 acres in the GB Pilot Survey, abstract number 963, located at 620 and 622 South First Street, heretofore zoned R6 Single Family Residential District, rezoning and placing the tract in the R4 Patio Home Residential District zoning classification.
Thank you. Linda. Wayne?
Okay, this item is request for zone change from R6 district to R4 district to build two 40-foot wide lots along First Street. P&Z recommended approval 7-0.
Okay. Thank you, Wayne. Is there anyone here to speak on this item this evening? Not. Linda, if you'll read E6 for us, please.
Ordinance 6577, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sherman amending Sherman's zoning ordinance, Code of Ordinances, Chapter 14, to rezone a tract of land consisting of 48.282 acres in the J.B. McInerney Survey, abstract number 763, located in the 2900 to 3200 blocks of North Hickory Street, heretofore zoned R6 Single-Family Residential District, rezoning and placing the tract in the R5 Single-Family Residential District zoning classification.
Okay. Thank you, Linda. Wayne?
This item is zone change request from R6 to R5 Single Family Residential District. The applicant was originally working towards getting an SUP for patio homes. However, since that time, our zoning ordinances have changed. The applicant has been working closely with city staff for a few months in expanding the water detention area within their development to over-detain in order to reduce flooding to the existing neighborhood to the south and downstream. P&Z did recommend approval 7-0.
Okay. Thank you, Wayne. Is there anyone here to address this item this evening?
Good evening. Brian Weisgerber with Cross Engineering, 1720 West Virginia Street. I'll be the engineer of record. I can answer any questions you may have.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate you being here. All right. Anyone else on this item? All right, Linda, if you'll read E7 for us, please.
Ordinance 6578, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sherman amending Sherman's zoning ordinance, Code of Ordinances, Chapter 14, and granting a specific use permit to allow a commercial amusement center, indoor or outdoor, in a C2 retail business district located at 4801 North FM 1417 Heritage Parkway, consisting of 5.742 acres in the Alfred Hume Survey, abstract number 522.
Thank you, Linda. Wayne?
Yes, this item's SUP request for commercial amusement center in a C2 district. Applicant is wanting to open this area back up as a club area behind Glitzy Girls area. Open it up as racquetball club, tennis, pickleball, so forth. P&Z did recommend approval 7-0.
Thank you, Wayne. Is there anyone here to speak on this item this evening?
Good evening. Brian Praviotti, 332 Anna, Texas. Scott Whiteman.
Scott Whiteman, 2809 Woodson Drive, McKinney, Texas.
Harley Francis, 2511 Pepper Tree Circle, McKinney, Texas.
All right. Good evening. We'll get with you in just a minute if we have any questions. Thank you for being here. Anyone else? Okay. Linda, if you'll read E8 for us, please.
Ordinance 6579, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sherman amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Sherman, Chapter 14, zoning ordinance. Section 14.06.005, amendments to the zoning ordinance, district and administrative procedures. 14.06.006, variance procedures. 14.06.007, special exceptions. 14.06.008, temporary use permit application and review. And 14.06.009, specific use permit application and review, prescribing regulations relating to property notification signs to provide information to the public concerning requests for rezoning, variances, special exceptions, temporary use permits, and specific use permits.
Okay. Thank you, Linda. Ryan?
Yes, sir. In addition to the public notices required by state law, the city's zoning ordinance has historically required applicants for zoning change requests to erect a sign that was prescribed by the city to give passersby and neighbors notice of a request relating to that property. When the city amended its zoning ordinance in December of last year, we identified that there were some refinements and some enlargements of the scope of that requirement that staff recommended. And so this ordinance does that. This is a bit of a cleanup item, but in general, this is enlarging the scope of the types of requests that property owners and applicants seeking approval of those items from the city would need to erect these signs to give the public additional notice in addition to what's required by state law of these requests. And so they include rezoning requests, variances, special exceptions, temporary use permits, and specific use permits. And that's what this ordinance does. It would amend the comprehensive zoning ordinance to implement those requirements. And then there's language in the zoning ordinance that allows staff to provide some additional requirements and to keep them current as they go.
Thank you, Ron. Is there anyone here to speak on this item this evening? Okay. If not, we'll close public hearing and consider the adoption of ordinances. Council, questions, discussion?
I have a question or comment on E5. And that is that I think this would be a great use of the land there to put in some kind of residential facilities. However, we have had recently brought before the city council, or we've been contacted regarding noise from trains and whether or not we can quiet the trains. And these two pieces of property back right up to a train track that I can guarantee you will have trains multiple times a day. So I would like to request, if that's legal or whatever, that the people that would be buying or renting would be notified so that they don't come back and go, well, I didn't realize there were going to be trains that come by multiple times a day on this particular spot. So that would be, I guess it's not really a question, as something that I would like to make sure that anyone that is building near our railroad crossings, make sure to notify, and maybe in writing, so that nobody can come back and say, well, nobody told me. I thought maybe the trains wouldn't be there that often. I don't know if you can do that or not.
Oh, no. Wouldn't that be a job for their realtor?
Yeah, once the building permit's issued, we're not typically
out.
involved in transactions of property, so it would be difficult after the CO is issued to do for the city to.
I mean, this has been a lot that's been empty for 40 plus years, so it'd be great to see it used. But it's just a matter of, I'm concerned that someone will come back and say, we need you to make a quiet zone, which is not happening.
There's there's already some houses there in that area.
Yeah.
At least 2, 3.
There are 3 houses already right there.
I think we should be all right.
Okay.
Hey, Ryan, I did have one minor question on E8, the update to the zoning ordinances, the signage requirements. So I see it's going to require a 4x8 sign now for zoning.
So the actual the version of the ordinance that existed prior to the change in December required an 8x8 sign, if I'm not mistaken, which I think historically just wasn't required by staff. The specific requirement that this change would allow for would have applicants erect a sign that is 4 foot by 4 foot for property that's greater than 1 acre. And then for any property that's under 1 acre and subject to any of these types of requests, it would be a 2 foot by 2 foot sign.
Okay. Yeah, I saw maybe it was 8 foot by 8 foot, and I was thinking, my goodness, that's a big
sign in the neighborhood, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And then I'm just going to make a comment about the tennis and pickleball project you guys have going on. I know there will be a lot of people excited about that. I owned that building for about 10 years that you guys are going into and operated as a tennis facility. And so I'm excited to see some life come back to it and to see that building be brought back to its glory. So appreciate you guys bringing this to Sherman. Looking forward to it. Mm-hmm.
I just have a question on E6. What was the vote planning and zoning for E6, which would be 6577?
It was 7-0.
7-0.
Since you asked about the vote, I have a question, and that is that I saw that there were a couple of letters written in opposition because of a concern over drainage. So could you speak to that? Is that Are they feeling like there's going to be a drainage problem and there isn't one?
Right. There were people that actually even present at that meeting. I believe that were planning on speaking to the drainage issue, but staff had acknowledged that there was a drainage issue out there already, with a few houses, and had talked with developer's engineer about over detaining, to reduce the flooding issues downstream, so that those residents in that neighborhood wouldn't experience the kind of structural flooding some of them experience in a really heavy rain. So after that was just presented at the meeting that they were going to be over detaining, detaining more water than what's required for their development. Nobody even came up and spoke.
Yeah, this location was part of the 2012 Post Oak Creek flood study, and they actually, one of the projects was to put a regional detention pond, or a smaller regional detention pond within this development. And so we've been working with Cross Engineering to analyze the cost-benefit ratio of over detention, and are working on negotiating a development agreement that we'll bring back to you guys to help pay for the lots that they're losing and the added construction costs to increase the drainage in that area. It's a good opportunity for the city to put a little bit of money in, the developer to put a little bit of money in. And part of that drainage analysis showed that two of the streets that would be overtopped by large significant storms, by over detaining upstream, those flooding problems disappear.
Okay.
So that's why staff thought this was a good project, a win for everybody, the existing citizens and the future development, to have a larger park with a little bit nicer amenity. So that agreement will probably come in the next couple months as we work out the details on the design.
I didn't see it in a site plan here, but given that's going to an R5, that does require some type of green space, 10% or some odd green space, correct?
Yeah, and with the detention ponds and some other locations of kind of open space, they meet that requirement.
I'll see that.
Good.
Well, if no one else has any questions, I would move to approve 6572, 6573, 6574, 6575, 6576, 6577, 6578, and 6579 as written.
I second that.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So congratulations to everybody with their projects.
Thank you.
All right. We're down to G1, repair and rework of the Tuck number 1 Trinity well under emergency designation. Hey, Tom.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. So the purpose of this agenda item is to inform the Council that the Engineering Department, on behalf of the Water Utilities, has initiated contract execution with Weisinger Construction to rehabilitate the Tuck number 1 Trinity well. We had to do this under an emergency designation. We're currently down the Shepherd 1 Trinity and the Dorchester 8 and 9 Trinity. All 4 of those wells are down, and we really need to get those things working again before summer comes on. And so we declared that an emergency situation and moved forward with it.
Can we get an emergency situation on 8 and 9?
We will proceed that way, yes, sir. We're going to do those separately, though.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So the Weisinger will have to pull the well, look at what the problem is, and then they will prepare an estimate what they think it's going to cost to repair that, and then we'll come to council with that. So that's probably what we will do on all 3 of those. Dorchester 8 may be a warranty issue, so it may be not included.
Move to approve.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to now receive a semi-annual report on the Sherman Cultural District. Evening, former Sherman Mayor and good friend of the city, Carrie Wacker.
Good evening, Mayor
Good to see
and
you.
council and staff. Nice to see you all. I'm subbing in for Ginger Nye tonight, who is the president of the Cultural District Advisory Board presently, but she had a conflict tonight. So very excited to bring to you an update on what's going on in the Cultural District since we last came to you last September. So at that time, I think it reported that we had applied for and were expecting to receive a grant from the Texas Commission on the Arts, which we did indeed get to support the upcoming Sherman Jazz Classic the weekend of April 14th through 16th, the weekend after Easter. So our committee has been extremely busy organizing around that particular event because it's a big expansion of what's been done in the past years. The Sherman Jazz Museum and the Sherman Jazz and More Society have been the sponsors of that event in the past, but because we could bring some grant money to the table, we were able to step in and do some paid advertising and some additional promotion and spread the event over 3 days. So you've got some highlights in your report that was in your packet. But I'm excited to report that over the course of the weekend, we have 13 different bands playing in downtown, 2 on Friday night at 2 different locations, 9 on Saturday, and an additional and 1 on Saturday night, 9 during the day on Saturday, 1 at night, and then on Sunday we're closing with a jazz brunch. And we also have a lineup of high school jazz bands. I think the final lineup has not been announced yet, but I believe we have 4 coming on Saturday morning. They will play on the Kid Key lawn prior to the main stage event starting at noon. So I hope all of you will come. You are invited to come to the Speakeasy Gala at the Sherman Jazz Museum on Friday night, 14th. It's going to be a lot of fun. Douglas Distributing is our title sponsor for that. We have several other sponsors. We're very pleased to have all the sponsors for that weekend because that's allowed us to do much more. And this is a big tourism event for us, we hope. We have a lot of partners working with us on this, Main Street, Downtown Sherman Now, several of the arts organizations. So it should be just a really great weekend. And we have a lot to celebrate in the Cultural District and downtown and Main Street districts that all overlap. I just always like to highlight some of the things that happen because we all work together to promote downtown Sherman as a really terrific, an artsy place to come, a lot of fun for the community and for our visitors. So again, I've got some highlights listed for you. I also brought something that I've been had in the back of my mind to check on. The numbers, the state and the consulting firm that the state contracts with on tourism numbers, there's always a lag in that data. But I looked today, the latest update was from September of 2022. But in the numbers specific to Sherman, I'm really excited to see that over the course of the past year to year and a half, as we've all come out of COVID and people are traveling more, and we probably saw a big jump in numbers, for example, at Hot Summer Nights last year. But in Sherman alone, the total direct spending related to travel impact is $94 million. That's up 35% over the prior period that this firm was reporting, Dean Runyon and Associates. In employment, there's 580 employees, either part-time or full-time or proprietors who work in travel and tourism related businesses. The total direct earnings is $16.7 million for employees in this sector. And then the tax receipts, the total is $7.8 million, but 25.8% of that comes back to the city of Sherman, which is over $2 million just from the tourism sector. I know relative to the total numbers, that's not huge, but it is another way that the creative economy that's reflected in the cultural district impacts the well-being of the city overall, besides just making Sherman a great place to live because of all that we have to offer. So if you all have any questions, I'm happy to answer those, but the big deal right now is getting the crowds out for our jazz weekend. And we also will be submitting a new grant application in June, and our committee will be meeting to determine what we will be applying for in this coming year. But it will be something else great to make downtown Sherman even better. So that's what I've got.
Can you make sure that we get the information so that we can share it on social media?
Yes.
Regarding where the bands will be performing, that type of thing.
Yes.
Once you get it kind of nailed down.
If you want to look now, the schedule for the weekend, except for the high school bands, everything is published now on shermanarts.org.
Okay.
There's a lot of information there. We are sharing on social, including some highlights of the bands, and also the upcoming we'll be highlighting our sponsors. You're welcome to share any of that from our social media accounts, which are Sherman Cultural District. And then if you would like a flyer, I can email that to Terry or Terrence and have that sent along to you all, so you have some documents that you can share by email. So I'm happy to do that.
Exciting event. Just social media helps.
Yes. All right then. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Carrie.
All right. This time we'll accept annual audit report for year ended September 30th, 2022 from Patillo Brown and Hill, LLP. Mary?
Yes, Patillo Brown Hill performed our annual audit this year, and John Manning is here to tell us the results.
Good evening, Mayor and
Good
Council.
evening, John.
Thank you for letting us be here. How do y'all have that in like a PDF on your computer? I was just trying to figure out how the best way to describe some of the highlights.
Just start on page 1 and go through the whole thing.
I always do that, page 1, and everyone glosses over. I just wanted to let everybody know before we get going, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, as we did meet with the Budget and Finance Committee and went over this in a lot of detail in a draft form. The numbers all stayed the same, but we had, an hour and a half lunch discussion over the financial statements, and I think we were all in agreement that they looked really good. If you'll look at page 1, I'm not going to do what Councilman Teeman said, but this is really the reason we were here. It's to offer an independent audit report on the financial status of the city as of September 30th, 2022, and we were able to offer an unmodified opinion, meaning we did not have to modify our opinion for things that were being omitted from the city's financial statements, things like capital assets and just general record keeping or general controls that would not allow accurate numbers to be presented. So of the 4 types of opinions that we can offer, the unmodified is the highest level of assurance that we can offer. So a lot of departments and a lot of city personnel went into getting that report. And I don't want to belittle it. It's only 3 pages out of 180, but it is a really big deal because grantors, bond rating agencies, a lot of people look to make sure that the money and proceeds that they're giving to the city have a good chance of being spent and reported properly. Page 4 starts the management discussion and analysis. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, but there is a lot of information in here. It's prepared by the city finance department. It's a very well done management discussion analysis. It kind of takes the financial statements and puts them into a narrative format where if you can't really look at the numbers and see what all is going on, there's narrative in here that kind of explains that in a lot better detail than I could going over it today with a lot of time. So page 19 and 20 are your balance sheet for your governmental funds. Ended the year with about $14.5 million of cash and investments, another $30 million of longer term investments. But everything looked really good. We were able to confirm all those balances with outside agencies, and nothing out of the ordinary was reported there. On page 22, obviously the big fund for the city is the general fund, and it ended the year with about $18.3 million of fund balance. That's an increase of about 1.4 over last year. So really, all the extra sales tax and all the things that have been happening are making their way into the financial statements, and we think the financial position of the city looks really good. The other thing that we were here to do is, because the city spent over $750,000 of federal funds, we did have to do what's called a single audit, meaning we had to look at your federal receipts, and we did not have any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses there, which is a very big deal. If you've ever looked at the requirements of these grants, they're pretty specific and they're pretty voluminous. So we applaud the city for being able to get those dollars in and benefit the city, but also meet the rules of the federal government and apply those properly. So if you guys have any questions at all, I'd be glad to entertain those now. But I really need to thank Mary and her office for all the help that they give us while we're here. As you can see, this document has a lot of numbers and a lot of information in it, and a lot of it's because of them. And we appreciate their help and really appreciate being help to the city of Sherman. So if you guys have any questions, I'll be able to answer those now. And if not, we appreciate it.
Don, questions?
No questions for me.
Yep.
All right, no questions?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. I appreciate your time. Thanks, Rob.
All right, Linda, if you'll read G4 for us, please.
Replat of Kerr's Nursery Addition consisting of all Lot 3, Lot 4, and the east half of Lot 5, Block 11, Kerr's Nursery Addition. Indalecio Torres, owner, Julio Torres, representative, and Copley Land Surveying, surveyor, 415 East Orange Street.
Wayne?
Yes, this is related to the zoning case E3 that was approved earlier. Since that zoning from C2 to R6 was approved, the applicant hopes to accomplish with this replat, splitting the parcel. It's 125 foot wide into 2 residential lots for development. P&Z voted 7-0. Recommend approval.
Thank you, Wayne. Council, questions, comments on this item?
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Hey, Mayor?
Yes.
Can we go back and have a motion in order vote on G3 to accept the audit report, just to put that on the record?
Move to accept the audit report.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion, a couple of seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. I apologize
Yeah, no problem.
for that.
Just to get that on the record.
Not going to reject a good audit.
Yes, that's right. Okay, council, this item is a scheduling item. Consider cancellation of the July 3rd, 2023 regular council meeting and add called city council meeting on Wednesday, July 5th, 2023.
Wednesday.
Bobby?
Yeah, Lights on the Lake is that Monday, which is normally when we would have the meeting. City offices are closed on Tuesday, the 4th. So we're proposing to move this to July 5th after all those holiday festivities are passed. Move to July 5th.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, we are to council comments. Justin, I'm going to start with you tonight.
I just want to say congrats again to the Sherman Parks and Recs team for their award. I also want to say thank you to city leadership for the St. Patrick's Day pancake breakfast. It was a lot of fun. Y'all did a great job. I think the employees really appreciate it, and I had a good time as well.
Nothing on this end.
I was going to follow up on what Justin said regarding the pancake breakfast. There were a lot of the city employees who came out on a very cold morning. And I want to compliment my co-council member who was great at
Flip some pancakes.
flipping some pancakes. For hours there, he was flipping pancakes.
Actually, I just served eggs, but that's okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
None for me.
No comment.
No comments either.
All right, just a couple of announcements. Make plans to join us in the Sherman Municipal Ballroom on Thursday, March 30th at 6 p.m. for an update on the many projects going on in downtown Sherman. It'll be a great chance to share information with downtown stakeholders and to help plan the future of our historic central business district. And also, be sure and mark your calendar for Friday, April 7th, and for Coffee with the Mayor. We'll be at Shulman's Movie Bowl Grill to release our lineup for Hot Summer Nights and Lights on the Lake. We built a pretty spectacular list of acts this year. I can't wait to share them with you guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. Finally, tonight, Craft the Night Away will return to downtown Sherman Saturday, May 14th at 5 p.m. There'll be plenty of beverages available from a who's who of area breweries, as well as some great entertainment. So get your tickets while you can. All right.
Mayor, I have an announcement too.
Okay, we got another announcement.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
That's right. We're gonna host the Hispanic Heritage Council community now, a new name. It's gonna host the first annual Cinco de Mayo celebration. Hopefully, it's gonna be downtown, right there by the courthouse. It's gonna have live band. What's that?
What day is that?
May 5th. Yeah, we're gonna have Hispanic foods, drinks, flavored drinks, and adult beers and stuff like that.
Okay. All right. So with no executive session, we have a motion second to adjourn. Anybody all in favor? Aye. Thinking about. Any opposed?